Hi everybody, it's Shadi Wade again with BP Vlogs. I want to say to all my viewers who are in the United States, Happy Thanksgiving. I'm recording this today because I'm going to be having some company over the weekend and won't be able to record, and I didn't want to deprive you of a video. There have been a few things going on. I have asked my doctor to refer me to an ENT, which is an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and to an allergist, just because I'm still congested in my head and have had no relief from the medications he's prescribed. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing is I have been experiencing some issues with my brother, and I want to kind of elaborate on the situation a little bit. My brother, God love him, is 35 years old and is friends with a woman whom he is living with right now. They're not married and they're just friends. And this woman was physically abusive towards my sister when the two of them were living in my sister's apartment. So there's that bit. That's a little bit of backstory. My brother, in turn, wants this woman to be able to go to my family's Thanksgiving dinner, which is being held at my mom's brother's house, so my uncle's house. And of course, my sister is going to be there along with her significant other, and my mom's going to be there and a bunch of people. And my mom, being a very intelligent woman, would know that having my brother's companion come would seriously affect my sister, and it would cause some animosity and stress. And obviously my mother doesn't like this woman because obviously this woman abused her child, so there is no forgiveness there. And you know, I can understand where my mother's coming from. I can understand why my brother's upset, but at the same time, you have to think about this logically. When we were kids growing up, my brother may not be aware of this, but we used to be watched by my mother's dad. So my grandfather used to watch us when my mom would go out of town with her significant other. And while he was watching us, he was very abusive towards me and my sister, in physical abuse and sexual abuse. And my sister finally told my mother what was going on, and that man was never allowed in our house again. We never saw him again. And I think it's because my mom understood how stressful that would be to have her children in a situation with a person who's supposed to be caring for them who's really abusing them. So there's that bit of information. My mom is very protective of her children and really concerned, and she's a great parent. She's not always right about everything, but when it comes to protecting her children, she is right. She is doing everything in her power to protect her offspring, which is what a mother does. A mother doesn't want to see her children get harmed in any way, shape, or form, whether it be mental, physical, or emotional stress or abuse. So my brother wanting a relationship with this friend of his constantly tries to involve her in our lives. And that's fine. I can understand where he's coming from, but here's the thing. The girl doesn't want a relationship with him. She just wants to be friends, and she has expressed this profusely to him, even to myself, that she just sees him as a friend. So I'm a little confused. She's constantly back and forth with her boyfriend and my brother, and like I don't know how to explain it, but because my brother's relationship with this woman, he is incapable of finding a true relationship because he has formed such a strong attachment and affiliation with this woman. And, you can't find someone who really cares about you if you're so focused on somebody who doesn't seem to give a crap. And I mean that. She does care for him as a friend in some semblance of the word, but my brother showers her with money and gifts, and expensive restaurant excursions, and takes her everywhere and caters to her needs, and really doesn't seem to cater to what's important, which is your family and those that love you. And this woman, I don't know if she expresses her love to him and leads him on or what, but I know that she has told me she does not want that kind of relationship with my brother. So I would think that the best thing to do would be to allow my brother to experience life with other women, to go out there and date women instead of constantly taking this woman out on dates where there's no payoff. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but so far in this situation, I feel that I am right. I've talked with this woman. She seems like she's kind of trying to find her way in the world, and that's fine. But to be so reliant on a man is kind of sad. I'm a very independent person outside of my marriage. I am the main source of income in my family, so I pay for my house, I pay for the bills, and food and stuff like that, and my husband pays whatever else, you know. And so, like, my relationship with my husband is very straightforward. He takes care of things and I take care of things, and we work as a team. But before we got married and before we had our child, I was very independent, and I liked going places. So I used to drag him along with me to go out on adventures, and we would go to antique shops or various restaurants out in the middle of nowhere, go to the beach or something like that. And this was all in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and I was happy, because I got to be myself, and I still get to be myself. And, my husband is very supportive of what, I am as a person, and the things that are going on with me. He understands my diagnosis. He understands that there are certain things that are not within my control, like when I break down in tears for no apparent reason. It's not him, it's my disorder, and it's something that I live with. I get very emotional sometimes, especially when I'm sick, so he has to be understanding of that, and he is. But when you're a woman trying to find that perfect mate, you need to know who you are as an individual, and I think that this woman is still striving to find out who she is as an individual. So I don't think she's ready for any relationship with anyone, but that could just be me. My brother is the same way. He doesn't know who he is as an individual. He's still striving to make his niche in the world and to figure out who he is. He still has, to deal with all of his past and all of his present. And, when he's constantly running away from it, he's not facing it. And so the two of them are kind of kindred spirits because they're both trying to run away from what they need to face, which is finding out who they are. And I don't think they can find out who they are as individuals together. I'm not a heartless person. I'm very logical about things. And, I tell my best friend all the time, you need to deal with your problems. She's kind of going through the motions right now with trying to figure out who she is and what she wants out of life, and she's getting there, but it takes time, and you have to face your problems as they come. And the wonderful thing about life is, even if you make the wrong decision, you can change your life for the better. Like, I was not always a perfect person, and I'm still not a perfect person. I'm constantly striving to improve myself, whether that be through education or through hobbies or whatnot. I always strive to improve myself. That's the struggle of life, is constantly improving upon what's already there. And that's what's part of making you as an individual, is finding the things that best suit you and make you the best you can be. When you're diagnosed or not with anything in life, you kind of have to go through the motions. When I was diagnosed as being bipolar, I kind of rebelled against it. I was in disbelief because no one had ever been diagnosed like that in my family, from my understanding. I can't speak for my father because I don't, it's weird. Muslims find mental illness to be something that's taboo. You don't talk about it, you don't do anything with it, you just kind of go through the motions, pray about it, and just move on. And I'm a firm believer that if God made man capable of understanding a situation in the human existence and formulated means of treatment, that he wouldn't want me to shine away from them. He would want me to accept them and to encourage me into getting treatment, rather than to say that I'm okay and that it's all just make-believe. Mental illness and stuff is not a joke. It's a life-altering situation and scenario to be in. And when I finally came to acceptance, I finally got treatment. But it was a long time coming. I was hospitalized and misdiagnosed. and was taking 13 different kinds of medications at one time. So, I when I hit a really rough point of my life where I finally was at rock bottom, I tried to kill myself with all those pills. Luckily, my husband walked in. This was before we were married, and stopped me and flushed all my medication down the toilet. So I went for about a year without any medication whatsoever, but you could see what was going on. I was going through bouts of rage and elation and depression and things of that nature. So when I finally met up with one of the VA psychiatrists who evaluate you, he made the diagnosis that I was bipolar. And I've been dealing with that diagnosis ever since. I can't speak for my brother, and I can't speak for his friend, but I think what ties them together is the fact that they are so similar in persona. They get really full of rage, whether it's directed towards each other or someone else. Neither one of them is really good with coping skills, and they kind of take out their aggressions on one another or other people. So I'm really concerned with that, and I hope and I pray that they get the help that they need. But at the same time, I know that neither one of them is going to accept that they really have an issue and get treatment. So there you go. If you go for a long period of time without getting treated for any sort of mental illness, you can be harmful to yourself and to other people. And that's what happened in the living situation that my brother and sister and this woman were in. A fight broke out, there was physical violence, and instead of my brother siding with his family, which is blood, he sided with this woman who was not even supposed to be living there. She was supposed to be there for a short period of time, and she ended up pretty much moving in. And my sister was incapable of getting rid of the situation. I know what sparked the fight, and I don't know if it was truly a misunderstanding or what, but it should never come to physical violence. And when a person resorts to physical violence instead of being logical and using their words, that means that they're incapable of using their coping skills to deal with their rage, and that they truly do not understand what it is to be a human being and an adult. And that's kind of sad. I spent a lot of this video talking about this situation because it's impacting my life. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I try to keep close ties with my family, like my brother and sister and my mother, because they are literally the only family I have, really. I don't really talk to my aunt and my uncle on my mother's side. And So my immediate family is really important to me. So when there is this sort of blockade because of my brother, I'm really distraught, and I'd rather talk about it and reason it out than to sit there and place blame or get angry. I understand why my brother's upset because he has formed an attachment with this woman, and I think his attachment is misplaced because she wants to be friends, he wants to be lovers. It's not going to work. And, until he realizes in his own mind that it's never going to happen, he's going to continue to try and force this reality not only on this woman but on my family. And there's just no way to make everyone happy. My brother has since posted on Facebook about how, we should all forgive and forget and move on. And if we did that, me and my sister would still have been abused by our grandfather. If my mom would just have forgiven and forgotten and let bygones be bygones and let my grandfather back in, me and my sister would have faced more abuse from our grandfather. So props to my mom for standing her ground, because you just don't let people who resort to physical violence into your life. And I fully concur with my mother's decision to separate this woman from the rest of our family. My brother, on the other hand, would have appreciated if everybody just forgave and forgot. And, we learn from our past mistakes. When this woman was living with my sister and my brother, there was this abusive situation going on, and my sister was finally able to escape that. And I don't think she'll ever accept this woman as an individual, as an adult, as a person she can respect because of the abuse she faced. And that's the human condition. When you have been physically abused by someone, would you really just forgive and forget and move on? I don't think so. I think that the human condition is that you know that this person did something horrible to you. Yeah, you have let it go and moved on, but you're never going to trust that individual again. That trust has been breached and it has to be regained. And so far, this woman hasn't really done anything to regain that trust other than to continue to be in my brother's life and take advantage of the generosity that my brother hands out to her free willing. And I think that if she declined his gifts and declined her acceptance of those things, that he would finally get the hint that he cannot buy her feelings, that her heart is somewhere else, and that she truly is not going to be involved in his life like that. But she doesn't. And I think that's a very adolescent mindset. If a man is showering you with gifts and all these wonderful things, it's nice. You accept it and you think it's wonderful and it's great. But there's always a motive behind those things. And when you examine what the motive is, you have to examine whether or not you should accept those gifts. And if I, which I have been in this situation, were to receive gifts and praise and all this stuff, I would definitely have to separate myself from that individual a little bit and put my foot down and start rejecting his praise or his gifts and let him know that I am somewhere else in my life. I have feelings for someone else, that I am firm in those feelings for someone else, and that I will not change my mind. And that, I believe, has never happened. And so the cycle continues. I had a friend who was a male, very nice. He used to be my landlord at my previous residence, and he was very loving, very affectionate, very honest about his feelings and stuff, but he started forming an attachment towards me, and I had to put an end to it. Like, I had to say, no, we're just friends. I love my husband, and this needs to stop. And I had to change the way that we interacted with one another, because something as simple as a hug meant more to him than it did to me. And so I distanced myself from him that way. And, I had to be strong in that affirmation, because if I wasn't, he would continue to try and pursue something that was never going to be his. And that would lead into a whole nother world of problems. And this was all before I became a Muslim. It was actually when I was still trying to figure out my way in life and understand what it is I wanted and needed out of life. And this man formed attachments to my hair and to my physical body, and I started covering up, and he was taken aback, and I started withholding physical contact because of my beliefs and because I knew what it meant to him. And he got very angry. And I had to sit down and have a conversation with him about how I saw those things and how they made him feel. And I didn't mean to make him angry, but I wanted him to understand that physical contact between me and another man who would get aroused by it was wrong. I should only have that with my husband. And we haven't really been close ever since. He is dating someone now, and I'm very excited for him, and I hope and wish him all the best. And, I hope that he is happy and that he has found someone who can give him the things he wants. And, that's what I want for my brother, is somebody who wants what's best for him and what will make him happy. And this woman, in my mind, is fairly selfish, because instead of allowing my brother to have that separation and being firm in her stance and saying, look, I care about somebody else. We need to distance ourselves from one another, and you need to find the person who makes you happy, because that's what I want for you. And do that. She hasn't. She likes being showered with gifts and things and hotel stays, and it just saddens me, because my brother deserves better than that. My brother deserves a friend who will allow him to find love instead of trying to take the place of the one who's supposed to be there. If she's in love with another man, she needs to be with that person and not be attached to my brother. They can still be friends. They can talk to each other, hang out every once in a while, but not 24/7. That's unhealthy, and it's selfish, and it's not a way to grow, and it's not a way to find who you are. We are defined by the actions that we take in life, and I have served my country, I have given birth to a beautiful son, and tried to be the best mother to him that I can be. And I continue to work on myself by going to school and furthering my education in the hopes of becoming a teacher and hopefully broadening the horizons of the future generation. But that's me. I want to know what my brother and this woman are doing to better themselves. Because I don't think they are. I don't think they're happy. Even with all the gifts and hotel stays and restaurant expenses and stuff like that, neither one of them is happy. They're not happy with each other. They're not happy with the persons they are. And until they can figure out how to be happy as an individual, they will not be able to be happy as a partner with someone. That's my stance. I support my family, and even when it hurts me or hurts the people that are my family, I make the right decision. And the decision is that this woman not be involved in my family's gathering, and that my brother needs to move on and find a person who will love him. But first, he needs to figure out if he loves himself. And that's all I have to say for now. I'll let you know what the prognosis is from my appointments. I have an appointment on Friday to get a CT scan of my head to look and check out my sinuses because I'm so congested. That'll be interesting. And until next time, stay tuned.